Well, it goes very deep, to say the least. It goes even deeper than the missing students that are, considered non-compliant, because many of these people, I mean, I believe it was around 2 million that were actually originally brought into Canada, which is a much different scenario than if 2 million people were brought into America. We're a much larger and more densely populated country. I believe Canada only has a population of around 40 million people. So now imagine
that's lower than I would have thought.
Yeah, it's very low, and they essentially they've completely, their culture's gone. I mean, there's very, very small pockets of Canada that are still great, kind of preserved. But I mean, you have entire enclaves, you have statues, you have temples, and these people aren't just, your Hindu Indians coming over. You have Sikhs, you have Palestinians, you have Muslims. They're all walks of life from India, and they are massively, what makes it possible is they are basically latching onto Canada's broken visa system. And to put it in perspective, I landed, there's multiple flights that come in from Doha every single day. When I landed, I immediately went to pick up my baggage, and everybody was Indian. Just in the airport, I have never seen that many Indians in my entire life. Traveling, in the job I do, I travel, every week, and just living in the United States of America. This is unlike anything that an American can actually fathom. And this is what has created this environment of what is mass illegal immigration being facilitated, of what is essentially only Indians into the United States of America. And how it works is, they come over, they abuse the visa programs, the visas last a few years, and they just disappear off the face of the earth. And they're disappearing from the Canadians' point of view, their government. But what is actually happening is you essentially have decentralized but highly organized smuggling networks formed. And how they work is you have a fixer in India that is living in India full time still. And you just look it up. I implore your viewers to do it. Look up Canada to USA safe on Instagram. Just look up those keywords. You'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of blatant human smuggling ads with WhatsApp numbers that you can decision. From there, you message the WhatsApp number. You'll get a response almost immediately. Longest I had to wait was about 2 days on some of these numbers, but there's thousands you can choose from, so it really doesn't matter. And once this fixer in India actually realizes, okay, you're legit, how many people, he will then connect you to an entire network of Indians that are operating as his actual on-the-ground smuggling ring. And then they kind of barter over you, and you can barter with them on prices, but they have it set up in a very similar way that we saw with my task work on the southern border, the way that the cartels essentially hire Americans to smuggle Latin Americans or other immigrants into America on their behalf. And they've just copied and pasted their model, and they're doing this in mass. And the scary thing is Canada right now is actually talking about enforcing, deportations on these visa overstays, which as of right now, just this year, you have, I believe it's 2.1 million visa overstays. And then in 2026, at the end of the year, there's another 1.9 set to expire. So these people are not going to go back to India. There's no.
They never do.
India.
Yeah.
They never do. So if they're not going back to India, they're no longer welcome in Canada. Where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go straight to these already organized and proven successful smuggling rings and be tracked right across our border into New York, into Vermont, into Washington. And it's more local to the East Coast. That's where most of them come over. That's why you have a place like New Jersey that is an enclave. That's why we saw the videos yesterday of the Palestinians. Americans don't know what Palestinians are, and they shouldn't have to. But they're taking over highways and flying their foreign flags because they want an independent nation in Punjab, affecting everyday Americans' lives. And where do you think they came from? They came straight from Canada across the border as well. So it's a very interesting dynamic that's happening.
Now, so essentially Canada is flushing their poo into the United States. I think that what's interesting too is Texas is another hotbed of very clearly illegal Indian immigration. When people think about illegal immigration, they generally stick to, it's the gardener, it's the Latino construction worker. But those are kind of the days past because, well, at least under, President Trump, we have a wall, we have a strict immigration policy, we police it, but we aren't policing the northern border. And it seems like it's simply wide open, and now we're just handing these people 50,000 ton wrecking, killing machines and making them semi-truck drivers. And these people all seem to be coming across the northern border. It looks like you actually were able to talk to some of these people in the documentary. What was that like?
Yeah, well, we set up a human smuggling deal. I basically posed and said that, myself, I was deported from America because I'm Canadian, and I illegally crossed with my family and had ended up being deported under what they describe as the Trump policies, is what the Indians say out there, and that my wife was also deported and my 9-year-old child. So I had posed that way and had made contact with a plethora of these smugglers through a fixer in India, and we met with him in person. I had a hidden camera on. My producer was in a car right in the adjacent parking lot recording the whole thing, and we got him to detail it step by step for us, how the process works. I just basically was telling him my wife is scared, we need more details. He gave us everything down to the crossing point, how long it would take us to get into America, and it was 5 minutes. We went to that crossing spot the next day.
Be sure to delve into the ruins.
It's absurd, how open the northern border is. There's a single security camera. The crossing spot that they were using, at least this one smuggler, it was literally in somebody's neighborhood, right along a beach. And all you would do is you walk along the beachhead, 3 minutes, and cut right, and you get picked up on Alberg Springs Road, and you're home free in America. They have somebody in America waiting there with a car. They pick you up. We talked to some locals in that neighborhood and in other areas that we actually went, because we went to 4 different spots throughout the documentary.
They must know, right? The neighborhood must know. They're like, what is going on?
They literally walk through their backyards. They walk down their boat ramps to get into America. You go to this neighborhood, and you can see, 50 feet in front of you, you can see American housing on the other side. There is no wall. There's absolutely nothing preventing people. There's no RCMP response. At one time, we actually went to one of the most notorious crossing points, which is Roxham Road. It's considered one of their highest secured one. They actually have cameras there, which that's the definition of Canadian border security, is cameras.
Yeah.
We timed it. I was able to do my entire stand-up, everything we needed, get B-roll. They responded. They got there at 10 minutes and 55 seconds. So if you're coming in to America, whether you're bringing drugs or humans, it doesn't matter, because 10 minutes and 55 seconds, you've already dropped your load off, and you're long gone. There absolutely is no response on the northern part of the border, and the northern border is so vast and wide that we don't really have a response from CBP or from our border patrol either on the American side. And a lot of the areas they cross is very densely wooded areas, beaches. So it's like, how are you going to enforce this? The only way realistically is to have a northern border with. And in some cases, they literally drive right over. So it's very blatant what they're doing.
And by the way, I've pinned the link to this documentary in the comment section or in the chat section of the video. You can also find it at Taylor USA, his X account. What's interesting is, what are we looking at here? Just how short the distance is between Canada and the United States in this picture?
Yeah, so this is actually very interesting. You're looking at what is called the Derby Line. It's a Canadian town called Stansted, and that library actually, because of the illegal crossings that have been happening, the majority of it is on the Canadian side, but the entryway is on the American side. At one point, this was a shared community before illegal immigration and drug smuggling was an issue.
They just crossed right through the library?
Yeah. Well, and American citizens, Canadian citizens, they're law-abiding people. You have family on the other side. You have a restaurant you grew up going to. And now the only prevention here, they literally split the town in half. You have to have a passport to go into the library as a Canadian. They've completely destroyed this town because in part of the documentary, you see they have stones lining the border. That's their border wall. There's just a few stones to prevent cars. It's not going to prevent somebody from running across. Yeah, it's absurd. And that's Roxham Road, but it's the exact same layout. And the stones in this instance literally cut somebody's house